Farming on a floodplain comes with risks. And at this small farm in Oxley called Neighbourhood, less than half an hour from Brisbane's CBD, those risks recently became reality.
We obviously had a lot of rainfall over a couple of days and our farm went under by about 3.5 metres, so that's pretty much up to near the top of our greenhouses.
Despite their best efforts to protect what they could, the amount of rain dumped over the southeast corner of Queensland and later into New South Wales was something they and many others simply couldn't prepare for.
Fortunately, I live just around the corner, so by the time I got here at 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, I could see the farm was flooded and I could no longer get out of this little alcove down here. So essentially I was flooded in with the farm.
Yeah, and I woke up, because I live over the other side, I woke up in the morning and had to wade across to get to the farm. So yeah, it was an interesting morning. We kind of met at right out the front of the farm and looked down and went, okay.
But clearly all was not okay.
We just started grabbing things that we could, seedling trays and a few of the tools that were hanging in the greenhouse. And we tried to open the shipping container, but unfortunately our combination lock was underwater, so we couldn't actually open it because the muddy water was so muddy you couldn't see. But yeah, it was surreal just driving up and back in a tinny, getting sandbags and things like that. Yeah, it's kind of strange.
If you're thinking Matt and Mika look familiar, that's because they are. We first met them on Landline a couple of years ago. Their small-scale urban farm began really booming right around the time it became clear COVID-19 was here to stay, and more people were becoming interested in supporting locally grown and largely organic produce. Since that time, these young farmers have enjoyed growing both their crops and their business. And this season in particular was shaping up to be a beauty.
We were just at the stage of taking off for the season, basically. So we'd finished planting out both greenhouses. We had seedling houses full of seedlings. We'd been working for at least 3 months to, prepare the soil.
And we had our workshops that we're starting again. So we had 2 tomato workshops back to back that we were going to do that weekend. And obviously we lost all the seedlings and tomato seedlings that were already under by the time we came down to the farm.
Basically, if ever there's a good time to flood, then this was not it. Starting over is never easy. And on their own, it may have been overwhelming. But Matt and Mika weren't on their own at all. No sooner had the water receded, the clean-up crew arrived. Neighbours, friends and others who were also flooded in that same little pocket turned up looking to help.
So when the flood happened and literally people couldn't leave this little neighbourhood, everyone was here and people were bringing us lunch and coffee, and there was a big dinner party up the street after the flood had receded. And so it was a really inspiring, heartwarming feeling.
One of our neighbours brought down a big firefighter pump, and the amount of work he was able to do with that just to wash everything down and get the mud off, all the greenhouses and seedling houses just was amazing. And I don't think today would be where we are now without that kind of support.
Hey fellas, thanks for having me back.
Hey Courtney, good to have you.
Good to see you, even under these circumstances. So there's a bit of water through this part, obviously. I've seen some pictures.
But visiting the farm even weeks later, after the worst of that clean-up is already over, it's clear a full recovery is going to take a long time. After all, veggies don't grow overnight.
And the biggest thing was that the soil was so compacted that we've basically been spending a lot of time the last couple of weeks just trying to break up that compaction so that we can actually plant a cover crop again.
Our strategy is to come back and cover crop the whole farm, which is what we're doing at the moment, and that'll allow the roots to get back into the ground and hopefully bring back some of that biology.
So what's the goal? When do you want to sort of see fruit and veg coming back
We're aiming for a couple months, hopefully.
Couple months.
Yeah, best case scenario.
Yeah.
It's not just the physical work that's required to recover. It also costs a lot of money. But again, the community that's grown alongside this farm has dug deep to help out. Some of the best chefs from across Brisbane have thrown their support behind not just Matt and Mika, but other local small farms also hit hard by the floods.
These particular farms we use every day throughout our cooking and that we serve to the guests, and the relationships that we've created between all these farmers are really important to keep us doing what we love.
Adam Wolfers is the executive chef at Gerard's Bistro in Brisbane's Fortitude Valley. He's passionate about supporting small or plot farmers.
What you're tasting on the plate is what the love, the sweat, the tears that goes into growing that particular vegetable or fruit. They're not big farms, they have thousands of kilos of pumpkins and things going out the door. You know, they've got small restaurants such as ourselves that buy direct, and you've got local communities that buy direct off these farmers.
And although small, he says they are a vital cog in the chain when it comes to fine dining.
We might have conversations, we'll go to the farms and we'll say, look, we really would love you to grow this particular item for us, and they'll grow something for us, which is specifically for us, so that we can showcase that. It's going to be bread course and the cabbage rolls from Juliet.
10 chefs from different restaurants were all involved in the flood relief fundraising dinner held at Adam's restaurant. The logistics of bringing together so many different chefs with different styles and cuisines, all in one kitchen, was quite something. But then again, so are the farms they're supporting.
It's very different to your normal Coles or Woolies kind of vegetable that's mass produced. You can really taste the sweetness. We always get the whole vegetable as is, ripped out of the ground, still with the stem, and we use the entire vegetable from the top to tail, you know, no waste. It's a massive importance from my side of cooking, and all the chefs that are here tonight. If we don't have these small plot growers, like, we can't do what we love to do.
Back on the farm, there is always something to do. But thankfully here, there is also always someone who's happy to help.
It's pretty confronting to kind of come down a couple of weeks ago and face all that water. And I think we all sort of took a bit of a breath and thought, what next? And it has been really nice to actually put in the effort and see the improvement that's coming about as a result of that. Looking at it now, the difference is unbelievable. And it's all probably, you know, just time obviously, but then the people coming down and helping out. Matt and Mika and Sam obviously do a lot of work when we're not here.
What you can see here is we've got this block under cover crop.
Matt and Mika estimate on their small farm alone, they've lost up to $40,000 worth of equipment, seeds and crops. But the effort, enthusiasm and support that's been shown to them by their farm community has helped them to believe that bouncing back is possible.
We launched the GoFundMe campaign, which achieved our goal within a few days of the money we needed to replace a lot of the equipment we lost. We've had the cafes that we regularly sell produce to that have run bake sales for us.
Can't even put it into words, just to say thank you. And yeah, it's made us want to get back and grow more. I think it's inspired us a lot. And yeah, it's really because of that community that allows us to keep going.
And keep going they are. The fundraising dinner raised about $60,000 to be split across 5 small plot farms, including Neighbourhood, where they're well and truly back on track. The cover crop they planted to help with their soil health has grown nicely, and they've just reopened their weekly roadside produce stall. They've started offering classes here again and welcoming school visits. Amazing, really, given what this farm looked like not too long ago at all.
Then you can see a layer of silt. Beneath that is a layer of clay, the second smallest. And then the bottom of the jar is mostly the sand component. which is the largest and heaviest of the particles.
The plant will take up too much
For Matt
salt.
and Mika, it's been a humbling few months, but they have big plans, not just to keep on going, but to continue growing.
Any other questions?
In the meantime, it's back to business as usual, which means each day they'll be here, working hard together.
It's an amazing feeling for us. Like, it really is why we started this farm, and the reason we named it Neighbourhood Farm is because we really wanted to create that sense of a neighbourhood and community support.